Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stew with JT Brew. I'm JT. Thanks for joining me here on NFL Betting Show, week number 5 on Fantasy and Frames. Give you my JT Parlay play of the day, my TD Parlay of the week, and I've got a special teaser as well. Stick with us as we break down week 5 in the NFL. You're in the stew.
You up on trades and why you move, you ain't designed to lose. Find you jumping over seemingly nothing, racking up points, makes the game a little more fun to watch. Can drop release, we started with the mock draft and now we making a mockery of the leaderboard. Quite obviously not a scrub, so start an institute, make evaluations like a commissioner do. It's to the point your wife make you watch in a different room. Update your roster and pick and choose when you get some news. Not much that we enjoy more than sifting through new statistics to make it to our end zones through different routes. Universities, institutes, down to homies who click in groups. I introduce you to the Stew with JT Brew.
Hello and welcome in NFL Betting Show week number 5 here on the Stew with JT Brew on Fantasy and Frames. If you get a chance, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Hit the notification button so you can get all the shows here on Fantasy and Frames throughout the week. I'm going to break down all the games for you here and give you a few of the bets I'm liking this week. Let's start off everything with the Thursday night game tonight. Buccaneers at the Falcons. Falcons 2-2. Bucs come in at 3-1. Falcons. Big win last week in the division against the Saints. Even though they didn't score an offensive touchdown, they still were able to get the win with a defensive score and a special team score and a bunch of field goals. They pulled off the 26-24 win, and the Bucs coming off an impressive 33-16 win against the Eagles. They're 3-1. Only blemish was that bad loss at home, 26-7 to the Broncos. Other than that, they've looked pretty good this year, and Baker Mayfield has been really tough. This game right now is sitting at -2.5. Atlanta over under at 43.5. My lean in this game is if I could get the Bucs by 3, I like to see the Bucs at a field goal. I think this game's being close. I think it's gonna be a field goal game, and then anytime I think it's gonna be a field goal game, I want to take the points the other way. I think this game could easily go either way. I think the Falcons' offense is gonna look a little bit better this week. I still think the Bucs are playing well. Offensively, the defense has also been pretty good. See if they can slow down Bijan. My lean this week is Bucs with the points if you can get it. And I'm going to come out right here and give you my same game parlay for the week. It's the JT Parlay Play of the Day. It's our Thursday night edition. I'm going with a receiving parlay this week. I like a lot of receiving odds. I'm not 100% sure, like I said, about who I think is going to win this game. And so I'm going to keep that out of this parlay for tonight. I'm going with Chris Godwin for the Bucs, 60-plus receiving yards. He's hit this in all but one game, and the one game he missed, he just barely missed, was just under 60 yards. Next up, I'm going to take Darnell Mooney for the Falcons. I'm going to take him 40 receiving yards. As Mooney has really kind of, after week 1 where he really wasn't involved in the offense at all, he's getting 7, 8, and 6 targets the last 3 weeks, 88, 66, and 56 yards. You can get him at 40-plus receiving yards on this one. I like that a lot. I'm also going to add into that Drake London on the receiving yards. He hasn't been a fancy stud like everyone's hoped, but he's been over this 50 mark in every game outside of the opener, 54, 67, and 64, 7, 9, and 12 targets, 6 catches in each of the last 3 games. So I'm taking London at 50-plus receiving yards. Then I'm adding in Bucs tight end Cade Otton. He's a player I liked before the season started. I thought he might kind of work his way in here. He was a guy that's that Baker Mayfield liked at the end of the year. Started hitting him a lot into the season and in the playoffs. Started off really slow this year. Only 2 targets in each of the first 2 games. Now he's back on track. 8 targets in week 3, 9 targets last week in week 4. Combined 13 catches, 47 and 52 yards receiving in the last 2. I can get him at 25-plus receiving yards. I like that. And then just to bump up the odds a little bit, I'm taking Rachaad White under rushing yards. Right now it's sitting at 34.5. He beat that number last week with 10 carries for 49 yards against Philly as they were up in that game. He got a 17-yarder that really helped him out. But previous to that, he had 6 carries for 17 yards, 10 carries for 18 yards, and 15 carries for 31 yards. So averaging just right around 2.5 yards per carry before his 4.9 last week. I think Bucky Irvin gets more work. I think this game is going to be close. I think the passing game is where they're going to win this one. I just am not a Rachaad White guy. I just don't like his production. His analytics are terrible. I'm going the under on him, rushing yards 34.5. So you add that all together, Chris Godwin, 60-plus receiving yards, Darnell Mooney, 40-plus receiving yards, Drake London, 50-plus receiving yards, Otten, 25-plus receiving yards, and White under 34.5 rushing yards. That's plus 850. You can get it with a boost on DraftKings right now for a 50% boost. Got it plus 1275. So plus 1275 on DraftKings for that one currently. That's what I like tonight for the Thursday night action. Got a little comment here. Jamie in the show. Thanks, Jamie. Yep, twice in one day. Had the IDP show on earlier today. Usually run that on Wednesday nights, but we ran it this morning. Jamie, thanks for joining us on that one and this one. Appreciate it. Jamie says, I took the over Bucky Irvin rushing yards, 43.5. I actually like that. That's why I'm under on the Rachaad White yards. I think if someone does get more carries in this game, it is going to be Bucky Irving. I like him better than I like Rachaad White. I think Tampa Bay is starting to decide they like him better than Rachaad White. I think White's still going to be involved. I just don't like what he's been doing. I definitely feel better about the Bucky Irving. If you want to put those two together, I like that. I love that idea, taking Bucky Irving over the 43.5 and then taking under on Rachaad White. Jamie says, also bet Bijan 25-plus receiving yards. He's hit that 3 of the last 4 weeks. I definitely like that as well. I almost threw that one in the parlay. The only reason I didn't is a little bit of an ankle injury for Bijan has me slightly worried that he's going to give a couple touches to Tyler Algier instead. I do like that bet. If he plays the whole game, I think that 25 plus receiving yards for Bijan is a pretty solid bet. Like I said, it was right there when I was looking at putting this parlay together. It was one of the ones that was sitting on the list. I left it off at the last second, but I do like that one. You throw that one in the parlay, that will kick that number up even more, adding another leg. So I do like that. Jamie, thanks for throwing that one in there. I appreciate it. So let's get back to the next game on the list for this week. And that is going to be Vikings Jets. That's the 8:30 a.m. game Central Time, 9:30 Eastern Time for everyone. That's another European game. Right now, the Vikings, 2.5 point favorites, over under, and that one's 40. These overseas games always scare me. We've seen the turf be terrible. The flight, you just never know how teams are going to react to this. I always think it's easier if your team runs the ball and if your team plays defense. It seems like the offenses have a little bit more trouble getting going in these games. So I do like the Vikings in this one. They've just been playing lights out lately. The Jets have struggled a bit. I'm on the Vikings at -2.5. The under on this, I could definitely see that hitting. I'm probably not taking that one, but if I was gonna lean one way, I would lean the under. The money right now is on the under in this one. It just don't know. Player props have me a bit scared in this game. I think Breece Hall actually gets a decent amount of carries. I think the same thing could happen for Aaron Jones. I'm not on any of these props right now, but if I was going to be, that's probably where I would lean is maybe the rushing props for each of those guys. I really want to jump on Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson, but I'm just nervous. I'm nervous in this game of kind of everything that's going on out there. I don't know about these games overseas in the morning. So I usually try to avoid betting on them unless there's just something I absolutely love. So So this one, I think, hopefully, it's going to be an entertaining game. Vikings and Jets. Vikings the surprise of the league right now at 4-0. The Jets at 2-2. They've been up and down. They've looked really good certain weeks, and then they've struggled other weeks. In the 10-9 loss crushed me last week. I thought they would put it to the Broncos, but so far that one they could not get it done on offense on that loss. That's why I'm leaning Vikings in this one. Next game on the slate is Bengals Ravens. Ravens 2-2 at the Bengals 1-3. Baltimore right now is a 2.5 point favorite. Over under in this one's 49.5. I've been pretty vocal about how I'm just not into the Bengals this year. I don't like what I see out of them. The defense isn't very good. They're putting a lot of pressure on the offense. I don't think this Bengals defense can stop the Ravens. Now, they finally got off the Stein, got a win last week on that 34-24 win at Carolina. This team has given up a lot of points this year, 24 to the Panthers. They gave up 38 to Washington, 26 to Kansas City, and even in the opener, just 16-10, a loss to the Patriots that killed everybody's survivor pool. As I know, almost everyone I was in, at least half the people, if not more, were on the Bengals in that one. So that one killed. Ravens getting off to that slow start, the tough loss at home to the Chiefs before kind of that upset to the Raiders that no one saw coming, 26-23. Came back with a nice 3-point win at Dallas, and then just absolutely dominated the Bills last week, 35-10. I think this Ravens team is heading in the right directions. I think they're going to pound the rock with Derrick Henry. So if you want to jump on some Derrick Henry props, I have no problem doing that. Is that he over rushing yards, anytime touchdown will probably be in a same game parlay with me with the 2.5 for Baltimore. Is this is a game. I know it's a division game, and I think the Ravens are heading in the right directions. I think they get it done in this one. Definitely like the Ravens. Next game, Panthers versus the Bears. Bears 3.5 at home right now. Over under is 41. This game, I really, really want to take the Bears. The Bears, obviously, those last couple trades the last 2 years so far seeming like it's definitely working out better for the Bears. Caleb Williams, obviously the rookie, starting to feel it a little bit, starting to get his head together and getting things going in the right direction for the Bears. On the other side, the Panthers have already benched former number 1 pick Bryce Young. They've got Andy Dalton in the game. He's helped pick up the offense here. I like this Bears defense. I think that they're going to play tough, even though I do think Andy Dalton has shown, has really gotten this offense going for the Panthers. I think this is a Bears win. I really want this game at 3. I don't want it at 3.5. I don't trust the Bears that much. So if I had to take the lean on this, I had to take a team, I'm going to take the Bears minus 3.5. But I'd be willing to buy the 0.5 point just to get it down to 3, just because I don't trust the Bears that much. Next game on the slate is Cleveland Browns versus the Washington Commanders, minus 3.5 for the Commanders, over 43.5. Right now, Washington has just been on a tear. Again, one of the surprises in the league this year has been them. After losing the opener 37-20 to the Bucs, they've won 3 in a row, 21-18 against the Giants, 38-33 versus the Bengals, and then just absolutely crushing the Cardinals last week, 42-14. Jaden Daniels, the starting quarterback, the rookie for the Commanders, has looked phenomenal. He is just playing lights out right now. Hopefully he can keep it up. Hopefully, my biggest worry for him coming into the league was whether he could stay healthy. He tended to take a bunch of shots in college, bunch of big hits when he was running the ball. But, so far he's taken a couple, but he's avoided injury. And so hopefully they continue to talk to him about that, as he does a nice job running the ball. And we just, don't want to see him get hurt, because it's just such a good season so far for him. The question's going to be is where are we going to get out of this Browns offense? This Browns offense has not looked good. They've lost back-to-back weeks, 21-15 to the Giants and 2016 to Vegas. after a rough 18-13 win against a really bad Jags team right now, and then the 33-17 loss in the opener to Dallas. This team is not playing great. I know Jamie is the Cleveland. He comes up, he says, is there Cooper? But I don't trust Watson. He likes the matchup for Cooper. I do agree with that. I do like Cooper. You'd think that this is a game that he would be able to bust out. The Washington secondary has not been good this year. You think this would be a spot to see Cooper break out? I'm with you, Jamie. I do not trust Deshaun Watson. I know they've got all the money behind him. If they didn't, I would be surprised we hadn't seen Jameis Winston yet. If it wasn't for everything involved with Watson and just all the chaos that's been around him since Cleveland signed him, I would think you'd want a shot in the just like get a shot in the arm. Jameis Winston, let's see what he can do. But right now, for me, I'm just staying away from Cleveland. I don't trust him at all. I don't trust Watson. I'm taking the 3.5 here for the Commanders. They've looked really good on offense. The defense is playing better. I think they can keep it up. Peters, teach us JT. Thanks, man. Join us. Appreciate you commenting and jumping in there, Peter, all the way from overseas. Thanks for checking out the show. Let's jump into the next game here. We've got the Bills at the Texans currently on DraftKings right now. It's this game's been about even all week. It's right now +1 for the Texans, over under 47.5. I think this is going to be a phenomenal game. If I'm taking this game straight up, I'm taking the Texans at the +1. If I could get them at +3, if you're throwing in a parlay by a couple points, I think this game is going to be close. Texans avoided a big scare last week, just an ugly, ugly game against the Jags, but they were able to pull it out. So a big win there for them. The Bills coming off their first loss of the season in that 35-10 shellacking against the Ravens. I think they bounce back and play better. I think this is going to be a really good contest between these two teams. I'm going to probably dive deeper in this one as it gets closer to game time and see if there's any other player props or some things I kind of want to jump on. Interested to see if Mixon ends up being a go. Also, I don't want to jump on the props until I see about Tank Dell, whether he's going to be in the mix or not for some of these wide receiver passing props. So I'm going to hold off on the props on them until we get a little bit closer and get some definitive word on some of these guys, whether they're playing or not. Next game up is the Colts at the Jags. For anyone who's a Colts fan like me, decade worth of losses in Jacksonville just seems to be the curse game every year for the Colts. They just can't seem to ever get a win in Jacksonville. You'd think if there's a time to get one, it would be now. The Jags are reeling. They have just been really bad to start off this year. 0-4 on the season. I've been pressing and pushing people on Trevor Lawrence all off season. He has looked terrible. He's looked like one of the worst QBs in the league so far. I think he could still turn around, but he's got to get some help, and they've got to figure things out on offense. He has not looked good. The one bright spot so far for the Jags, Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie out of LSU, has been great. I love what I've seen out of him. He's a guy, if you're looking for some players on a anytime TD, he's a guy I'm definitely looking at. Over yards for him receiving is a bet I've been jumping on a lot of different weeks. The Colts, this one's, again, questionable. A lot of questionable guys. So far, Anthony Richardson hasn't practiced all week with a hip pointer injury. They're saying there's a chance he could play. Even if he doesn't practice, that he could go. Joe Flacco came in last week and really got the passing game going. So even if Flacco plays, I think the Colts could be in this one. The biggest question, Jonathan Taylor, high ankle sprain. Is he going to play or not? Right now, he has not practiced this week. He is a hard questionable whether he plays or Trey Sermon plays. I've got to avoid a lot of these player props until I kind of can figure out what's going on here. In this one, I would lean the Colts to cover if I can get this one at 3, but in reality, as a Colts fan, I should be taking the Jags. I should just save myself the pain and the misery and just take the Jags, knowing that the Jags always win this game against the Colts. It's just been the one thing you can count on every year, whether the Colts are a superior team or not, that they lose this game in Jacksonville every season. So why I really want to take the Colts in this one, the injuries and just the history here. I'm hoping they change it. If I take the Jags and they actually end up winning this game, the Colts end up winning, I'll take the loss on the money just to see the streak snap. But right now, I probably have to take the Jags, even with how bad they played this year. It's just, history is on their side. I can take them minus. Jamie says, if Flacco plays, the Colts win. I actually agree with you. I actually think they can win with AR or Flacco. Jonathan Taylor's got me a little worried, but I think Sermon can come in and play well. If Flacco comes in, I could see them throwing the ball around a ton. I really do. Josh Downs came back. He looked really good. They finally got Pittman involved last week. So both those guys, fantasy-wise, Flacco would be really good for both those guys. And so obviously, if you want to jump on their player props, Flacco starting definitely makes me consider taking Downs and Pittman over receiving yards. And also Flacco passing yards is the defense for the Jags right now is really banged up. Their whole linebacker core is injured. Josh Hines-Allen, formerly Josh Allen, he is probably going to miss this game with a concussion. He's their best pass rusher. This Jags defense is beat up. This game could end up getting really interesting on the offensive side with all these injuries. So Flacco, I tell you what, I've got Flacco in some fantasy leagues. If he ends up starting, I'm probably playing him this week. I think he could have a really nice game against this Jags team. Jamie says that hope Evan Hall plays over Sermon. Sermon has not looked great. The Colts have trusted him in the past. I'm a Evan Hall guy. I actually like Evan Hall. I couldn't believe when they cut him at the beginning of the year. That shocked me. Then they came back, at least re-picked him up and put him on the taxi squad. So that made me feel better. That I was a little surprised that he didn't beat out Goodson for the third running back spot. I thought after the injury last year, he would really make his way back into the lineup this year. Hasn't happened. I'm hoping Evan Hall gets back in there. So, Jamie, we're on the same page there. I really like Evan Hall. I'd love to see him play some this week, especially if JT's out. I just like what he does as a receiver, and I think the guy runs hard. So I'd like to see him get a little more playing time as well. Next on the list on the afternoon games is just the shit show of the week. There's nothing else you can say about it. Miami Dolphins against the New England Patriots at Foxborough. The Patriots are -1 right now. Over under in this game is 36.5. I think that under is going to just keep climbing down. I think this game's going to be ugly. Both these teams have just been awful offensively. The Dolphins went to Tyler Huntley trying to make a change from Skylar Thompson to see if he would make a difference. It didn't make a difference last week as they were only able to put up 12 points against the Titans. Their offense, they have not led a single second in any game this year. The Dolphins haven't. It's unbelievable for a team that has the talent they have and the offensive coaching staff, which I really love. But they've just had guys banged up, and this team does not look the same without Tua. They just cannot get it together without him. The Patriots on the other side, what can you say? 20 points is the most points they put up all year against Seattle, and it was a little surprised that they put up 20 in that game. Other than that, 16 points in the win against the Bengals, 3 against the Jets, and then 13 last week in a 30-13 loss to San Francisco. I'm all over the under in this game. I think this thing is going to be absolutely ugly. The only guys I want to play in this are defensive players, defensive linemen, and linebackers. I don't like any of the any of the offensive stuff unless you're taking unders on offensive guys, which they're not going to be very high numbers. I don't like it. Ronald Stevenson would be the one guy I would consider, and now they're talking about benching him. He's had fumble problems. He's fumbled in every game this year. Now they're saying he might lose touches to Antonio Gibson. I don't know what either of these teams are going to do offensively to create points in this game. So I want the under in this one. I'm hammering the under. And usually when I see a game in the mid 30s in the NFL, It scares me big time. I usually don't want to bet on that game because, turnovers, a special teams play, a fluky play here and there, and a team scores and you can get over there. But I can't see either of these teams getting into the 20s in this game. I got a lot of field goals in this one. I'm projecting a Patriots 13-6 win. I just think this thing is going to be ugly, so I'm going the under in that one. Let's get into the afternoon games. First one on the list here. Jamie jumps in here before it. He said, "I bet the Dolphins wish they had Flacco right now." No joke. I bet you they kind of wish they had Mike White. I'm still shocked they cut Mike White earlier in the year, as Mike White was a guy that showed that he could come in and at least produce some offense, even if he was turnover prone. He did produce some offense. I was surprised they cut him. The Dolphins would love to have Joe Flacco right now, as I bet you this offense would still be moving with him. But man, it's tough to take any Waddle or Tyreek Hill or even Devin Achane, take any of those player props right now with the way this offense is looking. Afternoon games for us, we got Niners versus Cardinals. Cardinals, after a really nice win against the Rams a couple weeks ago, they went right back to getting ugly last week. So they went back after that big 41-10 win against the Rams. They lost 20-13 to the Lions and then just got pummeled 42-14 by Washington. The Niners, injuries all over the place. CMC still out, but Jordan Mason has looked really good. Right now, the Niners -7, over under is 50 in this one. I like the Niners. 7 points seems like a lot. I'll take it if they get the push. I think they win this game by 2 scores. Jordan Mason, anytime touchdown, is the worst odds for anytime touchdown right now. I think it's at -235, but I'd throw that into a parlay, as I think he's going to get in the end zone. He has looked really good. The Cardinals defense has not looked good. So I'm in on the Niners this week. I've been on a Connor touchdown, and I've been on the over props for Marvin Harrison Jr. I think I'm staying away from those this week against the Niners. The Niners defense is playing well, and I don't want any part of the Cardinals right now until I see this offense start turning it around and get it back on track. Next game, another just what could be an awful game this week. The Broncos at home against the Raiders, -2.5 right now for the Broncos. Over under is 35.5. Man, putting up points in this game, I think they're going to be at a premium. The Broncos defense has looked pretty tough the last couple weeks. They've been a surprise. The nice 10-9 win last week against the Jets, and then the 26-7 win against the Bucs, and then they lost the 13-6 game to the Steelers, and then obviously the 26-20 game in the opener against the Seahawks. This defense has been really tough. If it was me, I'm probably going the under, even though the Raiders have been known to give up points this year. I just don't see a lot of points getting scored. I'm on the Broncos -2.5. I think they cover that. I also like the under in this game. One player I'm looking at player props. I know a lot of people jumped on him last week because Devontae Adams was out, and that was Brock Bowers. He kind of got lost in the mix. Their offense didn't do much. They kind of tried to run the ball. They had their best offensive output of the year running the football. I don't think that happens against the Broncos. I'm on Brock Bowers. I think he gets over 100 yards, and I think he gets a touchdown. He has yet to hit 100 yards and does not have a touchdown in the NFL this year. If it happens, I think it happens in this game. I don't expect a lot out of the Raiders, but I could see Brock Bowers being the guy. The safeties and the linebackers have not been great in coverage for the Broncos. Really, the pass rush and the cornerbacks have been really what has kept this defense going. I think the Raiders lose, but I think Bowers actually has a nice game in what has been a pretty shoddy performance from tight ends this season so far in the NFL. So if I'm going to go out on a limb, that's kind of my long shot. I know it's a little bit of a crazy. It's a little bit of my crazy call out in my bold prediction, and that is going to be Bowers. I got Bowers 7 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown this week. Next game is Rams at home against the Packers. Right now, Rams +3, Over under is 49. I just don't know what we're getting out of this Rams team this year. Start right now, they're 1-3. They played a real tough game in the opener against the Lions and lost there. Then went to Arizona and got absolutely hammered 41-10. Came back, shocking win over the Niners 27-24, and then lost at Chicago 24-18 last week. The Packers, have Jordan Love back, lost a tough 2-point loss to the Vikings, who have been really good. I'm probably avoiding this game. I could see the Rams actually playing well in this one and sneaking out a win, but I just don't trust them. If I had to put money down, I'm taking the Packers -3, but I think I'm avoiding this game. And then only player props I'm probably looking at are rushing props in this one. Kyron Williams and Josh Jacobs over rushing yards, maybe anytime touchdown for each one of those guys would be something I would consider in this one. Next game on the list, Seahawks versus the Giants, -6.5 for the Seahawks, over under 43.5. I'm loving the Seahawks in this one. Last week, just a tough loss, 42-29 against the Lions. It was a great game on Monday night. Just couldn't get it done, but this defense has not been terrible this year, but the offense has looked really good. Geno Smith so far has looked good. The Giants, the defense has been okay, but they've given up a lot of passing yards. I'm on DK Metcalf, and I'm on SJN this week. I think both those guys could have nice weeks. I'm going to talk about DK in my TD parlay here after a bit. I really like the Seahawks in this one. Giants got to travel all the way out west. I just don't think this is a great spot for them. I think the Seahawks have too much offense in this one, and they get it done. I'm taking them the -6.5. That is going to do it for the afternoon games. Then we get to the Sunday night game. The Steelers at home, -2.5. Over under is 44 against the Cowboys. Steelers off to a great start this year. The defense has been phenomenal. Little hiccup last week against the Colts as the Colts played their best game of the year in a nice 27-24 win from them. The Steelers, though, I still believe in this defense. I think they're one of the best defenses in the league. The Cowboys have been underwhelming offensively this year. It's pretty much been Dak Prescott to CeeDee Lamb, and that's it. Brandon Cooks having issues, had his knee worked on just a little bit, ended up having an infection. He is out for this game. The running game has been awful with Zeke and Rico Dow. I just don't believe in the Cowboys. I especially don't believe them on the road on a Sunday night game against the Steelers with this defense. I'm on the Steelers -2.5 in this one. I'm avoiding the over-under. I could see the Steelers defense playing well, but still giving up some scores to this Cowboys offense. I do like George Pickens. I feel like I say that every week, but I think Pickens has a nice week again. I thought he would get the touchdown last week and get his first touchdown of the year. He did not, but he looked good in the game against the Colts as he had 7 catches for 113 yards, did have the fumble near the goal line that definitely cost the Steelers. That was a tough one, but I think the Pickens Fields connection is there. I think he's going to have a good game. I do like some Justin Fields player props. I'm going to kind of eye that one. I just missed last week. My JT parlay, same game parlay play of the day with the Steelers. Calvin Austin, 8 yards receiving, got me on a huge one in the Steelers. On the other side, George Pickens not getting a touchdown and the Steelers losing that game got me in another one. So that was a tough one there as I just barely missed out on both of those Steelers parlays. Would have been nice to hit them. Hopefully we get them this week. I'll be back in on Justin Fields and Pickens again this week. Just liking what I see out of them as possible player props. And then the Monday night action, Saints versus the Chiefs. Right now it's -5.5 for the Chiefs. I'm leaning Saints in this one. I think this is going to be a close game. Over under is 43. the Chiefs are really they've just been struggling to get together on offense. They haven't been very explosive. They're getting wins. They're doing what they have to do to win games, but it just hasn't been pretty, especially if you're looking at those player props. Mahomes, Kelsey, they've been off. Rashee Rice out with a knee injury, got hit last week on a pass by Mahomes, got picked off. Mahomes went to make the tackle, hit Rashee Rice in the knee. He's got an ACL injury. It looks like he's probably out for the season. That's going to make things really tough for the Chiefs. Who do they go to? Who do they pass to? If this is the week for Kelsey to show up, this is the one. They've got the Saints are going to play a lot of two high man coverage. They're going to try to keep anyone from beating them deep. Getting inside the zone underneath is going to be the spot for Kelsey if he's going to do it. The Saints have been real good. Back-to-back tough losses, a 3-pointer to the Eagles, and then that 2-point loss last week at the Falcons. The defense has been good, though, and the cornerbacks have been good. I'm staying away probably for most player props in this game, as I don't trust anyone really in this one, but I do like the Saints to cover the 5.5. I think it is going to be a close game. So time to kind of finish out the show here. I will throw up one of my other picks for the week. Let me find it here and bring it up on the screen for you guys. This is my JT parlay play of the day. This is my anytime TD parlay. So I kind of talked about it a little bit here, talking about a few of these guys. I like Derrick Henry a lot this week against the Bengals. I think he gets in. He's been looking phenomenal. The Bengals have not been great against the run. I think he gets in. I think Brock Bowers gets off the snide. I think Brock Bowers gets his first career NFL touchdown. I've got him in there. I think DK has a big game against the Giants. The Giants have really struggled to stop the pass. Their cornerbacks have not looked good. CD Lamb had a big game last week. I think DK breaks one off and gets a big TD. And I said it last week, and I was wrong, as Pickens did not get in the end zone. I think it happens this week. George Pickens does not have a touchdown yet for the Steelers. He is due. He is going to get one. Right now, those odds are plus 2,950, plus 2,950. You can get a boost up to 3,540 on DraftKings. That's plus 3,540 on DraftKings right now with TD boost. They've got a boost right now that goes every TD leg you add adds up the boost bigger. I like this one. I got a couple long shots in there, especially with the Brock Bowers. So only 4 picks in this TD parlay is already almost 3,000 plus 3,000. And then I took the little boost on top of it. So I like that one. So I'm on that one for sure. And then my last one for the day is I'm going to take a teaser here. This one will be a little interesting one here. So I'll pull this one up. This is my week 5 teaser. The Ravens plus 3.5. I'm going to take the Texans plus 6. The Colts plus 9. I want the Dolphins Patriots under. I'm going to take it 42.5. I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the Niners down to -1. I'm going to take the Seahawks down to -0.5 point. And I'm going to take the Steelers on the other side. I'm going to move that to plus 3.5 for the Steelers. I can get that right now at plus 800. So I'm moving all those lines 6. So if you're wondering about that, the teaser is moving all the lines 6 points. I'm taking the Ravens the opposite way to get to plus 3.5. I'm taking the Texans up to plus 6. I'm taking the Colts up to plus 9. I'm taking the Dolphins, Patriots under. I already like the under at 36. I love it at 42.5. I think the Seahawks and the Niners win. They're both right around a touchdown now. If I can get them down to right around even or -1, I like that. So I'm taking both of them. I think the Steelers win this game, but I do like having the tees at plus 3.5. If they do lose this one, I think it's going to be a field goal game. It's going to be real close. So I've got the Steelers at plus 3.5. That's a plus 800 odds. That's my teaser of the week for week 5. I got a couple more questions here before we finish out. Jamie back in. Bet the over on the Chiefs kicker. I do like that. I do like the field goals. There's quite a few field goal kicker props I like this week. He's one of them. I really wish they would let you put these player kicker props in the same game parlays. DraftKings has knocked that out. They will not let you put him in. I tried to put Chase McLaughlin for the Buccaneers tonight. I wanted him over 1.5 field goals. I think it's at minus 140 right now, but they would not let me put that in the same game parlay. That's another one I think groupie for the Saints too. I like the over for both those kickers. I think they both can get 2 field goals in that game. Brock can get 2 TDs. I would love to see Brock get 2 touchdowns in that game. The tough part for me is I just don't know if the Raiders can get in there twice. The Broncos have played really well defensively. I think they're going to have to get a short field to get a chance. I just think with no Devontae Adams, I think Brock's got a chance to get a lot of targets. I think he can maybe get 1 in. This week against the Broncos, I'm not going to go with 2. The odds are crazy, though, if you look them up. I don't have them right in front of me, but I know his touchdown odds were already pretty high for the 1. And if you go for the 2, I think it's even better. Let me see if I can quickly find it and pull it up here, because that would be interesting to see where he is at currently on that. See if I can find it here quickly. Sorry for the delay, folks. Right now, if you want to go Brock Bowers, it's plus 260 anytime TD. First touchdown is plus 1,100. 2 plus touchdowns is plus 2,500. So, Jamie, if you like that and you want to throw a little $10 to win 250 on Brock 2 TDs, I wouldn't hate you for that at all. I just don't know if the Raiders get in twice. It feels like a touchdown and a field goal, maybe 2 field goal games at best for them. I think they maybe scored 10 points in this game if they're lucky. But I am on the Bowers touchdown. I think he's going to have a nice game, even if the Raiders don't have a nice game. I think it's going to come down to him finally having a breakout. So that is going to do it for me here on the Stew with JT Brew on Fantasy and Frames. This has been the NFL Betting Show Week 5. Thanks to everybody who joined and watched in at the show. I appreciate it. If you missed the show, anyone does, you always can go back and listen to the podcast later on your favorite podcasting, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all those other places. You can definitely find that. Jamie says he's definitely putting a couple dollars on the 2Ds. I agree with you. I might throw a few in there as well, as I like where your head's on that one. So I might throw that in there. Throw a little Bowers plus 100 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. That could be some really crazy odds. So I do like that one. And you know me, I do like to parlay. I love to get crazy on those. So I appreciate everybody. May all your bets hit and the trading never quit. Check you next time on the Stew with JT Brew.
You up on trades and why you move, you ain't designed to lose. Find you jumping over seemingly nothing, racking up points, makes the game a little more fun to watch. Can drop release, we started with the mock draft and now we making a mockery of the leaderboard. Quite obviously not a scrub, so started institute, make evaluations like a commissioner do. It's to the point your wife make you watch in a different room. Update your roster and pick and choose when you get some news. Not much that we enjoy more than sifting through new statistics to make it to our end zones through different routes. Universities, institutes, down to homies who click in groups. I introduce you to the Stew with JT Brew.